In 2025, I played quite a few games, probably a bit over 50 games throughout the year, maybe even more than that I got to actually play and beat. I played just 30 alone from a certain challenge that I did throughout the year, and it's going to be pretty hard to narrow down a top 10, but I have somehow managed to do so. Looking back and really structuring out my top 10 has allowed me to see just like how many quality games I've played this year. I remember when I did a video like this back in 2023, I wasn't even able to put 10 games that I played in the year in my top games that I played. I couldn't find 10 games that I considered my top. This time, I had like 15, and I had to narrow it down to 10. It really goes to show that I have played quite a few quality games this year. Now, just to get this out of the way so people are aware, these aren't games released from just 2025. These are simply games that I've played in 2025. There are games in this list that are from this year, but I think majority of this list is from games that have released in the past. It's kind of just how I like to do it. I like to go off of what I've played and not just what has come out. Otherwise, it'd be like my top 3 games of the year, if that. So let's go right into number 10. Captain America's Super Soldier on the PS3. It's one of those superhero third-person games like Spider-Man or something that you just like love to play, and I feel like not a lot of people are super aware of this game's existence. It feels kind of niche. I don't know. A few people have seen it on my trophy list now in the past, and they're like, holy shit, this exists? And man, it's good. I know it's 10th in my top 10, but it's still just such a good game. The story itself is not super strong, but it is different from the movies, and that's something that I can appreciate. I think this game would have been a bit more of a slog to get through if it was a copy and paste to the story of the movies. I don't know if that would have worked for me. But the action, the gameplay, that felt amazing. It was a super clean game to play, and it felt really nice. It kind of felt like the Batman games and its combat, which is, in my opinion, the perfect combat is the Batman Arkham games. They literally have what I'd consider the absolute pinnacle of combat. But yeah, overall, man, it was a great game. I had a ton of fun with it. I don't really have complaints with it. It's just that, I guess the story, it just goes in the top, it goes into the 10th spot because there's 9 games that are better. And that 9th game was Warhammer Space Marine 40,000. This just comes with a shitload of bias. I'm pretty obsessed with the Warhammer series. Although I haven't played a ton of them, the world of Warhammer itself is something I'm so obsessed with. Especially the Warhammer 40k world. Still love Warhammer in general, but the Warhammer 40k world is something I'm specifically very, very interested in. And so just getting to play as a Space Marine and just destroy waves of enemies with a fucking chainsaw sword and a heavy hitting gun that are like bullets that are bigger than my hand, I mean, it just feels so good to play. Another problem with this game though to me was that the story wasn't super strong. That's really it. The gameplay and the world itself though they were great to me. There was also a small problem with enemy variety in 40k. You just face orcs the whole time, and there really wasn't much variety in the enemies themselves. You got to face like 5 different enemies, it felt like. Except for like the rare, stronger enemy. And that was really it. But it was a great game. Great game. Coming in at number 8, we have Synapse, which is a VR game. I don't know if I'll ever really put a VR game on a list again for top 10, because they just didn't really work. Like, VR games have never really worked like this one has. I'd say a big reason why a VR game wouldn't end up in my top 10 of a year ever is because of motion sickness. Something that I feel like I don't struggle with as much as others, but I still really struggle with. But for Synapse, I did not deal with this at all, and what I'm going to assume it is the colors. They take away the colors except for very specific parts that are like notable in the game, but when you're playing through the game, you're basically just in black and white. And I think that is a huge reason as to why I wasn't dealing with any sort of motion sickness throughout this entire game. It's just that my brain didn't have to really process those colors. This game is like phenomenal on top of that, but that's a huge reason why I don't look at it badly at all. But yeah, basically you're going through a man's consciousness, you're trying to get to the center of it and find out some secret information. While all through that you're playing a roguelite, you're fighting waves of enemies and they get stronger and stronger as you go through, and it's just so satisfying the way you kill them because you have a telekinesis ability that allows you to throw objects or even throw them themselves off the map or just into walls or just throw fucking like blocks at them. It just feels so good. Meanwhile, you do have some very nice feeling gunplay as well, so that's a nice thing on top. And then it does have boss fights too. It's a really fucking cool game, and it plays amazingly. It's not overly difficult, and it's a VR game that doesn't give you motion sickness, which is still a huge deal to me. Coming in at number 7, we have Life is Strange 2. Yeah, not Life is Strange Double Exposure or anything, because that's the most recent one. No, I just got around to Life is Strange 2, and this is a game I actually hear a lot of bad things about. I've heard a lot of people kind of shit on this game, but when I got to play it, man, something clicked with me. I don't know if it's because I have a brother, and that kind of carries its own weight, but this game just like, it felt like it never slowed down throughout the entire playthrough. I felt like I was always invested. I felt like the slow moments never felt slow, and I felt like the crazy moments felt insane. I was really invested in the story, and I have not felt this invested in a story in a minute. But yeah, man, this game, I don't know, it was maybe like a 15-hour playthrough. It didn't feel like that. A huge thing for me too was a song in the game called, I think it's called Melancholy Hill, and it's by Gorillaz. For some reason, that just like really clicked with me throughout the game, especially when they played it in the credits. It just came like full circle, because I think you listen to it at the beginning as the older teenager, and then it plays again at the very end after they've gone through their whole journey. Yeah, if you haven't played Life is Strange 2, man, and you've heard bad things like I have, give this game a shot. It is really good. This game has a different tone, and it kind of goes down a different route compared to the other Life is Strange games. Going into game number 6, we have Robocop Rogue City. I played Rogue City and Rogue City Unfinished Business this year. I do think the first one was the better of the two, which does make sense after all the other ones an expansion. Robocop Rogue City is phenomenal, dude. This is such a good game. It is such a good adaptation of Robocop. They really, really did well. Now, don't get me wrong, it is not perfectly polished. It has jankiness. It has like low budget look to it at times for sure, but I still think they did really good graphically. It's just kind of the characters, they can come off like a bit robotic. It's kind of like a AA game, to be fair. It's not a AAA. These guys don't have a ton of money. They're doing what they can, and they're putting out these games fairly quickly too, so the gameplay is so fun. It feels so good. You really do feel like Robocop. And the graphics are still really solid. Like, the environments and everything look really good. It's just the faces at times when they talk is a little weird. But the story itself was still really good. It wasn't phenomenal, I guess, but, like, it was still good. I just don't really know how to argue why it's at number 6 over the others. It just is. Just because all these games were great. Coming in at number 5, we have Deadpool on the PS3. Finally got to play Deadpool, man. I've been kind of waiting to dip my toes in this game and finally play it. I remember when it first came out, or maybe a bit after, I was watching people play through it on YouTube, and I thought it was so fucking sick, and I really wanted to get my hands on it, but I just never did. And now I finally did, man, and this game is so good, dude. But yeah, it doesn't actually feel like Batman too much. I think it's a bit more arcadic. But it feels great. It feels really good to fight in this game. And the mix of melee combat with gun combat is pretty good. They both feel really nice, and they both feel rewarding in their own right. And I played this game on its hardest difficulty, and it still felt really fair. It wasn't like super easy, which is a good thing when you're playing on the hardest difficulty. It should not feel that way. But it felt fair and rewarding, and it's for you doing good. Because I'm pretty sure you got higher score output on the higher difficulty for doing good, as you should, because it would be harder to. And then you use that score to buy upgrades for weapons and such and all that, and that makes you stronger, and then the game becomes easier because of that. But yeah, I wielded like these 2 hammers and just loved playing through the entire game like that. It was a great time. The platforming felt good. The story was great. I loved the story throughout this game. It felt like Deadpool, man. I think they really knocked it out of the ballpark with this game, and Nolan North as Deadpool is amazing. Coming in at number 4, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Can't believe it took me this long to get to it, to be honest. Kind of surprised I didn't play this with the PS5 launch. I played Demon's Souls out of all things, but not fucking Ratchet & Clank. But I'm glad I've gone to it now, and I've gotten the platinum for it. It was a great game. I think the platinum pacing is great. The story pacing is great. I think the gameplay, and just, to me, when I think of this game, it feels like the first and only, like, truly next-gen game, which I guess is current-gen now. But it feels like the only game that kind of, like, pushed the boundaries to kind of make it feel like a game that couldn't exist on PS4. When I look at a lot of the games that have come out now, they feel like, yes, they'd probably run like shit on PS4, but they could play on PS4. They could. Ratchet and Clank does not feel that way. The seamless like loading screens of it, kind of like you going through a portal and you're in a new map, and that's like technically a loading screen, but it's really not. It's just crazy what they did with that stuff, and I don't know how they did it. I really don't. They absolutely like knocked it out of the fucking ballpark with this game. It really is just astonishing looking at this game run and just work, because it is so good looking and it runs so fucking well. And that doesn't even, yeah, that's one thing upon the many great things about this game. Like, the gameplay feels amazing. The gunplay feels really cool and unique with all the different guns you get and all the different abilities. Switching between the two characters is really fun because you kind of get to see both sides of the story. I don't know, man. Like, this game was really good. It really was. And it's not even top 3. Coming in at number 3, we have Atomfall. Atomfall is kind of a game I've been waiting for ages. It is a game that really feels like Skyrim, but it is like Fallout. I guess it's just a game that feels like Fallout, but it feels kind of more like Skyrim for some reason to me. It's set in, I think it's set in the UK, and it's pretty much Chernobyl. Pretty much that's the space you're in, but it's in the UK. It is basically just Skyrim. Skyrim / Fallout, it's a mixture of both to a degree because it's a bit medieval at times, but it's also got like guns and stuff in it, and because it's like modern, but because you're in a Chernobyl-esque setting, there's guns, but there's a lot of like bow and arrows and like just melee weapons, stuff like that, and everything's really run down. Yeah, the story in this game isn't like anything to write home about. It's nothing crazy, but the just exploring the world, going for side quests and just like looting areas, seeing that maybe anything that seems small could be so important or have such an amazing side quest, and just doing all this stuff that is so world building. It is like exactly what I've been looking for since Skyrim. Like, I fucking love Skyrim, and I love just going through that world and just seeing shit I've never seen before. And that's how this game feels. It feels like what Bethesda can't even do anymore. This game really does what Starfield couldn't, and kind of like capture that feeling of wanting to explore an adventure. The only reason it's not one to me is because these next 2 games are just fucking cinema. And yeah, coming in at number 2, we have Dispatch. It is more of a show than a game. It's true, because it's basically just a Telltale, but even less interactive to a degree. But yeah, I don't know. This game felt so... It just felt so good to play. The dispatching minigame between the cutscenes, the long cutscenes, basically the episodes, was really fun. I kind of just like doing the strategic factor of like kind of figuring out who I want to use, and like, do I want to use this guy right now when I may need him in like the next call, stuff like that, or kind of just the socializing part was really cool. The one thing I really didn't like was the hacking minigame. That thing was stupid. I don't think that even needed to be in the game, but maybe they felt that there needed to be a bit more of a game in it, so they're like, just throw it in there. But the story was just so good. Going through it as Mecha Man and kind of just being a guy with no powers, trying to handle people with superpowers, but then also like hiding your own identity so that they don't know because they shouldn't know. I don't know, man. It's just something about it. It was. If it was a show on itself, I would have loved it, but I also love that I kind of got to play through it myself and also make my own decisions. I really, really love that. So, this game was just fucking cinema, and I'm really, really happy that the guys that were from Telltale are now putting out these kind of games again, and they're putting out just as good quality, if not better, than they used to put out. I'm really excited for what these guys do in the future, and I do really hope that they do a season 2 of this show, because it is really fucking good to play and watch, I guess is what you'd say. But the main reason why it's not number 1 is because it is not really that much of a game. It is more of a show. Coming in at number 1, the best game of the year, is Split Fiction. Because this game had a very, very compelling story, while also just having some of the best gameplay and like pacing and direction that I've really ever seen. Especially for something that is purely co-op. I just feel like the way that they paced everything, the way that they set everything up, and the way that just everything flows is so well thought out and so well put together that it just has to be the best game I played this year. I really didn't have a single low point on this game. I think just the co-op was so well done, and it was just such a fun time playing such a quality co-op game with somebody. When you look at co-op games, look, in most games now that are co-op, people call them friend slop, because that's kind of the idea at this point, is that it's just a game that is meant to be played with friends, and that's it. But this game, it is higher quality than really anything out there when it comes to a co-op game. Even the games that they made before, this is really all they're doing. They are one-upping themselves every single time. A Way Out, amazing. It Takes Two, amazing, better. Split Fiction, amazing, even better. They're just putting out better games after better games after better games. I really don't know where they go from here, because this game just hit everything right. I think it was so cool to go between fantasy and sci-fi. It really changed it up and felt like nothing was ever getting old. And that's my best game of the year, and those are my top 10 best games of the year. Let me know if you disagree with anything or if you agree with anything in the list. If there are games that you think probably should have been on this list over other games, it is probably because I didn't play it, especially if it's from this year. When I do think of it, Split Fiction, Dispatch, and Atomfall are really the only story games that I've played this year, that came out this year. But yeah, hit thumbs up button if you did enjoy, subscribe more content like this, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.